All right, everybody. Welcome again to another episode of this amazing series that we've been doing. How have you guys been liking it? I mean, I cannot hear you right now, but I have been loving it. And the reason why I've been loving it is I've just had this pleasure of bringing amazing humans to you that have, I respect them. If I didn't, I wouldn't bring them on here because, we don't like crap in here. Right? I respect them. I respect what they have to say. And I truly, truly believe that as we're all making sure that we are prepped, but not panicking, that we are all equipped. And these humans are here because they have different opinions, very diverse. It's not like I'm bringing them because they do money the way that I do money. No, but because I know that there's no one size fits all. So it's really important for me to bring people that have different thoughts. Some may be similar, but some may be dissimilar. And so as part of that, I have someone here that I'm super duper excited about, and it is Dr. Cindy Smith. Welcome, Dr. Cindy Smith.
Hello, it's so good to see you and so good to be here with you. I love being with you and I love your people and I love your attitude. I love what you teach.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Right back at you too. So for those that don't know you, I mean, I'm gonna give like a brief one-liner so that people that are out in the world will like, who is she? So I refer to you as a retired primary care doctor, and you are a coach, and you are the creator of the Empowering Women Physician platform, really, which is the group, the podcast, and all things just about bringing humanism to medicine and helping us heal from the inside out. I'm all about money from the inside out. So when we talk about healing and changing the world one human at a time, that's my gem. So tell us in your own words, who are you and why should women be listening to you in this time of preparing for the downturn?
That is a great question. It's funny because I have never once referred to myself as a retired family physician, but that is one way that people could look at it. It's so interesting. I was just speaking at a conference this weekend, and the woman who introduced me was the host, and she was a friend of mine. Our kids went to preschool together, and she was like, I remember when Sunny was thinking of stepping down, and I was like, this is relevant to money. This is how she introduced me. She's like, I was like, don't lose your pension. What are you doing? Why are you leaving? How could you do this? She says, and now she runs a multi-million-dollar business and is in one of the top, women physician entrepreneurs in the country. And so I think that is just very interesting, right? Is that people who are full-time practicing physicians, they see people who are stepping out in any other way as danger, our alerts are going to go off. And so, who am I and what do I do? I spent my career as an academic family physician running a free clinic for the underserved. And now I was an advisor for medical students on well-being, personal, professional development. And so now I do that for attending physicians and for my colleagues and my friends. And so we have a Facebook group and a podcast and a coaching program that are all about stop sacrificing yourself for others and finally enjoy this life that you worked so hard to create. Allow yourself to be a human being. All of us are human beings. We're all comparing our insides to everybody else's outsides. And so I think all of this is very, very pertinent, particularly in an economic downturn and in a recession, because that's a time that maybe we wouldn't allow ourselves to enjoy ourselves. And we would start to panic and we would think, no, we're going to sacrifice during this time. But as you know, Latifat, I lost my mom this summer, and it has never been more pertinent to me that all you have is today and all you have is now. And I think in the fire, the sort of get financially independent and retire early community, there's this idea if I work really, really hard now, then later I could be happy, like we thought in med school, like we thought in residency, and then we become attendings. And then, it just kicking the can down the road is not helpful. And so certainly don't plan to do so in an economic downturn or in any reason. So I think money, as you know, is always a circumstance, and how we think about it and how we feel about it really has more to do with our upbringing, our household, our culture, our ancestors, what we were taught, than anything that's actually going on in the world. So in this recession, there will be a lot of people who are thinking, oh my gosh, recessions are when fortunes are made. Like now is the time, everything's on sale. And there will be people who are terrified. And so just meeting ourselves right where we are, saying, I make perfect sense. Look at it. Every woman physician here can write down, what did your parents teach you about money? Like, what beliefs did they have about money? Like, I can think about what my mom thought about money. And what did my dad think about money? And then how did I inherit some of that and then get indoctrinated and enculturated? And how have I worked actively to think differently about money? And that's exactly what you do, is encourage people to think differently about money.
I love that because what I find is many times we don't even know that we have ways of thinking about money. We just
Yes.
accept it
Oh,
as natural
no,
to
it's so
us.
taboo. I mean, it's like sex, politics, money. And you know so well, like this gets us all fired up, right? Because if women in general, but if women physicians would talk about money, there may not be a pay disparity. There may not be a pay gap. There may not be a wealth disparity or a wealth gap eventually, right? It's not going to happen overnight. But if we would talk about money, then we would know what the people next to us were making. We would know about how to save. We would know about how to invest. We would know what an asset that generates money. We would know that you don't have to pay all your students' own loans off to feel good or to invest. So I just think it's so important to talk about the sort of like shame, guilt, put it under the covers. It's not polite. I mean, it's not only ridiculous, it's completely not serving us. And when we are complicit in that, we are part of the problem.
I wasn't going to bring this up, but we're recording this during the week of a workshop that I'm doing, the Financial Liberation Plan workshop. And everything you've said is literally what we're talking about, which
Yeah.
is I want every woman physician to be financially independent, and we will get there. But it bothers me to no end when I'm talking to women and we are overworking. Our relationships are struggling. We are not well. We are like not having time to do things we want to do. We're afraid of speaking up at our jobs because God forbid I lose on that pension. God forbid I don't have 25 times my yearly expenses. Like, I see if we're not freaking physicians that have the gift of resourcefulness. And so whether this
Right.
is like pre-downturn or Perry, whatever. I don't even care if we're like at what the economy is saying. The bottom line is we are freaking resourceful. And the only reason why we don't remember that is number one, we're not surrounding ourselves with people that can help us augment that and build that. And also because we have so much shame that we think the only thing to do is to hide. And that just keeps me up so freaking much.
Yeah. And there's no number that can create that shame, right? There's no 500,000 in debt because of your student loans, 400,000 in debt. There's no whatever happens to your house value versus the loan value. You have shame because of how you perceive it, right? And we just weren't told that we are some of the strongest, smartest, most educated, most capable women to ever walk the face of this planet Earth. I mean, women have not had freedom and rights and ability to even have a loan or a credit card for they got that right just before I was born. The year before I was born, I was already in my mama's belly. Like these are new things. We are capable, we are intelligent, we are badasses. Like, let's go. And so, as you said, just surrounding yourselves with people who see this, who know it, who are willing to talk about it. And there is no shame, no matter what your finances are. Some of the wealthiest people in the world file for bankruptcy because it's a tool. I'm not recommending women physicians file for bankruptcy, but I'm just saying there's so much finances to be aware of, and there's so many tools to be available to us to utilize when and if they are appropriate. And like loans, like, oh my gosh, when I, as you know, first met my friends in the physician financial space, I had no debt at all. And I was so proud of myself. I have no debt,
Because
right?
you were told
And
that was the
then
main thing you're
that
going
was
for.
good.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so I thought that's when I'm going to be happy. That's when I'm going to be free. So I got to know debt. And then I met friends in the physician financial space, and they're like, why wouldn't you want to leverage some of your capital and get a loan, like say take $200,000-$400,000 and get a loan for some millions of dollars on a property and have passive income? I was like, oh, you mean debt could be a good thing? Like, who are you? What is this? And it took me some time to realize that debt actually can be leveraged, and that often the wealthiest people are leveraging debt for income because they're called assets. And so there's just, I think we have to kind of blow up what everybody thought about finances that we were told is like, put your head down and work your buns off until, again, like for me, where I was, at first I thought it was going to be 65 or 62. And then once I got to the point where I really was actively thinking and looking into stepping down from my career, my traditional University of California career, I was told that I could have full retirement at 50 and I was 45. And I was like, it's not worth it to me. 5 years to me was not worth it. Like these are the youngest years I'm ever going to be. And so what is that dangling carrot and what are we sacrificing to get to it? And so for people who have, say, and for women in particular, there's often the idea of maternity leave or having young children. And, 40% of women go part-time or leave within the first few years of practice. And what if medical practice, what if each one of us demanding the kind of practice schedule that we want, which is like, what if we want to work 4 days or 3 days or 2 days or be off at 3 p.m.? What if all of us started doing that? Because say you're making $200,000 or $300,000 in your full-time salary, and you're like, you know what? I could probably get by on 200 or 250 or whatever. And I can also, especially when you have this knowledge and information that you're teaching, it's like, and you can take a portion of that and put it into something that works when you don't.
Amen.
So, and they just don't teach us that because we are what they call
Teach us.
high earners, not rich yet. Often when we have our young children in particular, not everyone has children, of course. So it's not about children. It's about flexibility and living now and living life on your terms. But if you're Henry, high income, not rich yet, it's what are you doing with the income that you do have? And if you create a life that you feel you need to always escape, right, then we're wasting a lot of money on things that we don't need. But we can take that income and put it to the things that bring us joy, that bring us value, that bring us experiences. So I love all this that you teach because it's really not about the money. Money is a tool.
Money is always. Don't
It's
tell the
about
secrets.
it's about the life. You're like, okay, not about what we say it's about, but it's about living the life you want
Living
to
the
live.
life you want
Yeah.
and enjoy.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like even when there's a recession, it's not, I mean, yes, you can enjoy, renting a private plane if you want and enjoy those luxury, but it's also about indulging and enjoying whatever it is you have. Like a cup of coffee can be a cup of
Oh my
joy.
gosh.
And
Yeah,
that
I
is
have to
regardless of what the
say,
economy is
yeah.
saying.
And people will tell you to get rid of that cup of coffee because it's $3 or $4 or whatever. And you're like,
No,
no,
no.
I savor this
Tag
coffee, whether
me
it's
so
in
I
my
can scream
house.
at them on your behalf.
Exactly. And what I have found, as I said, these past few months where I'm just like so hyper aware of the preciousness of every moment and savoring every moment. The best things in life, as you know so well, are free. And the savoring of the sunset and the savoring of the ocean. I swear I'm going to get tearful. The savoring of my little boy and being present for him. That's everything. That's something money can't buy. But money allows me to buy it because I can be here, because I choose to believe that there's sufficiency in my life and I can choose to be present and savor the moments that will pass.
Okay, Senator Smith, we have 6 more minutes, just so you know. And the reason why I'm telling you this is before this call, I'll tell you what I did. I was looking at the light to make sure my whatever, my stuff was working, my volume, my speaker, because sometimes that happens. And then I decided to take a picture. So I took a picture, a selfie of myself. I saw myself on the screen and I got a picture. And I looked at the picture and I saw myself. I saw myself looking at myself and I said, oh, I'm so proud of you.
Oh,
I was like, I'm so proud of you. And this is like literally 3 minutes before we got on. And I said, I'm not going to cry because every time you hear Senator Smith get on camera, there seems to be tears involved. And we're not going to do that. And here we are.
I'm an emotional woman, even when talking about money, because again, it's about what's the perception of your money gives you back in your life. It gives you back your actual life. When you know that no one has power over you and no one has control over you and no one can make you show up at a workplace you don't want to. it's just never worth it. So
It's just
I am
never.
so proud of you, and I'm so proud of your mission in the world and what you're doing and the truth you're speaking and the people who need to hear it. And we all get to be proud of ourselves,
We all
right?
get to be proud. You don't
In
need
any
anybody.
circumstance. And I will even say, like in 2008, I did do a short sale of my home. And I'm still proud of myself because that was, I mean, my generation, if anybody graduated residency in 2004, like I did, that was sort of the time where you were able to 2005, 6, 7 save up enough money to put your down payment, put your whole life saving into a home in 2008. And so my class in general across the country really got hit super hard.
Mm.
And so I went through all different kinds of things. I Airbnb'd it before there was Airbnb. We did Craigslist, you know, I'd move out. I got a second job at Kaiser, all this stuff. And then eventually as things really tanked, you know, we bought for 1.3 and I sold for 800. And you know, there's no shame. And I know that it was really hard and I was trying to keep my head above water, all this stuff, but it's 14 years later. And now in hindsight, I learned so much. I downsized to an apartment where I had my baby years later, and then we bought our doctor home later, and it's appreciated in value a ton. And there's just cycles in the economy and in life, and that's the way it is. And if things go up, they'll come down
They'll come
sometimes, but the trend over time is up. And the thing is, I only tell that story just when you're talking about shame and pride. Is like, I'm proud of myself for all of the times that we ate at the food bank. And then I got my first paycheck and was able to buy anything I wanted for food at the grocery store. And I was so proud. And then I made all the right financial decisions I could. And if I didn't, I learned. Right. And so now I'm financially independent and it's amazing. And what I want is for people to feel that they can have these moments before they're financially independent. Like when I was living in the apartment complex, right?
Yep.
That I drove that car until last year. My husband just sold it months ago. It was like it was a salvage vehicle, and I drove it for like 15 years. Anyway, we need to stop crying and get back to
Yeah.
what your people need to hear. More of what your people need
This
to
is
hear.
what they need to hear. One of my happiest moments was when I could afford to buy more than one Big Mac sandwich. I could buy a
Yes.
Big Mac and a fajita roll
Yes.
up, and and all those things were like
That
$3.
is wealth. That is
That one of
wealth.
my
Like when
proudest
I buy,
moments.
oh, go ahead. I didn't mean to
No, no,
interrupt you.
I'm just saying, like, it's
It is.
quality.
It's what
Quality.
you recognize and savor and appreciate. Like when I go by, it's the silliest thing, but these like pink razors that are like $7 or something, and then the refills are like $15. I'm like, I have such gratitude for being wealthy because I don't have to and it's relative wealth, right? That I can appreciate that I can buy a pink razor at the grocery store and as many refills as I want. That is wealth and that is savoring. And just like being able to go to Starbucks, like recognizing, because so many of us physicians, it's like you just keep moving the bar. It's like I used to say out loud when I was in medical school, if I ever make 6 figures, I'll think I'm the richest person in the world. And I started at a salary of $80,000 as an attending. 80,000. And I got kind of pissed over time. And then I made 125, right? And I was like, hey, I'm still kind of pissed. And so it will always just keep changing. It's a
Moving.
matter, as you said, of savoring the moments when we go from like one Big Mac to two. When we go to, I can actually order a drink when I'm out, as well as the food. And it will just always, because people think they'll hit their fire number, people in your community, and and then their fire number will suddenly change.
Yep. Yep.
Like you define financial
Yep.
independence,
Yep.
right? You define it because you define what you're going to spend and you define what you want to save. And, you know, if I had one thing to say about money and the economy and the recession and all of this is look at our beliefs, why we believe them, and then find a way to convince yourself to really buy into the belief of like, now is the most valuable asset you will ever have. It's
Yeah.
way more valuable than any money because you cannot take it with you. And I know that now more than ever.
Thank you for sharing that. And just to summarize, the other things that we talked about is find ways you already are wealthy. And regardless of what decisions you
Mm-hmm.
have to make because of the
Yeah.
downturn in the downturn, you're more than just one decision. And there's no shame. We're going to look back today and we're going to be proud of you regardless of what decision you make. So, Sonia Smith, I knew it was going to be great. I knew we would need 1 more hour regardless of how much time we took. Thank you. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for sharing. I'm going to be including your contact information as well for those that I want to find you. And for everybody, I want you to share this episode everywhere. If you're watching the video, if you listen to the audio, share it. The goal of this is to empower women physicians. The goal of this is to give hope so that we will be prepared, not freaking out, and we can be well because your life matters more than anything else in the world. And I can say that even as a money coach, including money. Your life matters more than everything or anything. All right. Love you guys. And thanks for listening, watching, and leaving us a review. All right. Bye.